Mr.Falcon!
Now, if you've been with me on my channel for a while now, then you'll know that Dorohedoro is one of my all-time favorite mangas. Back when I used to do in-person intros, I used to call myself YouTube's #1 Dorohedoro fanboy. While I'm not sure if that's still true given the series' recent time in the spotlight, regardless, it's still one of my favorites, which is why I just wanted to talk about it again. Also, when reflecting back on it, I've never made a proper recommendation for Dorohedoro, or at least to the extent I usually do on this channel. So today I'm going to fix that, and while I'm at it, I'm going to give my thoughts on the recent anime adaptation, which I honestly still can't believe we even have. Now, for those who don't know about Dorohedoro, it takes place in two worlds. One being known as Whole, living up to its name by being this dirty, mutated dystopia, and then there's the world of sorcerers, full of magic, demons, and all sorts of chaos. Sorcerers are able to move between both worlds, and use Whole as their own personal sandbox of destruction, polluting Whole with their magic-like smoke, while terrorizing and disfiguring everyone they come across. However, this changes with the introduction of Kaiman, a man with no memories and somehow cursed with a lizard face. Dead set on getting his memories and original face back, Kaiman goes around kicking ass and hunting wandering sorcerers, along with his friend Nikaido, a badass martial artist and restaurant owner. Kaiman's process of elimination and finding who cursed him is by chopping down on the heads of sorcerers, where a mysterious man inside Kaiman's mouth verifies if they were the culprit or not, which is how the series actually starts off, and is just a perfect way to establish just how insane Dorohedoro can be. Things get even crazier in the series as Kaiman and Nikaido wind up pissing off N, a sort of magic mafia boss who sends his hitman to deal with them, while the two try to uncover the mysteries of Kaiman's past, which may also be connected to the mysterious origins of both worlds, leading to the hellish shambles that is Dorohedoro. Dorohedoro is a perfect blend of action-adventure, dark fantasy, horror, and murder mystery, with an injection of comedy and slice-of-life elements. The action here is brutal and messy, with blood, guts, limbs, teeth, really you name it flying everywhere at each fight. Lots of satisfying impacts, and thanks to the creative uses of magic in this series, there's enough thrilling fights here to keep both gorehounds and action junkies satisfied. The world building on display is amazing, taking place in two distinct and creative worlds that get thoroughly explored, learning about each side's history, culture, and traditions. The world of Whole may seem pretty bleak and horrifying at times, but it's still a lively place, with its people making the most out of it, the perfect example being the Day of the Living Dead. Due to the magic-like smoke of the sorcerers heavily polluting the environment of Whole, every year the magic residue in the ground sprouts out zombies of those who were killed by sorcerers. While this sounds absolutely horrifying to have happen annually, the people of Whole made it into a fun little holiday where they kill zombies and get prizes. However, if you think that's insane, the world of sorcerers is filled with all sorts of crazy traditions. But even more interesting is its criminal underworld and sort of social hierarchy that are explored more throughout the series, much like the many mysteries of Dorohedoro. As with every volume, we get some answers or at least ideas of what's going on, only for a bunch of new questions and mysteries to spring up, all the way till the final volume, helping make this already delightfully addicting series even more so and definitely rewarding to those who decide to reread it. While Dorohedoro perfectly balances all these elements well, and that in itself makes for a perfect mix for a kick-ass and memorable manga, but to me what gives Dorohedoro its unique flavor and identity, besides its art, which we'll get into in a bit, is the series' dark but still pretty goofy at times sense of humor, and plenty of more laid-back moments. Looking at the gloomy and bloodstained world of the series, you'd expect Dorohedoro to be a pretty depressing and horrifying read. However, amongst the bloodshed, Dorohedoro is actually hilarious. We have a lot of running gags and comedy coming from character interactions, as well as the series itself leading on its chaos in a more comedic angle. On top of that, we have entire chapters or side chapters dedicated to different groups of characters sort of just hanging out doing their own thing. In the words of series creator Q Hayashida herself, Dorohedoro is like a song with very dark lyrics but with a melody that's so happy you just want to dance to it. It's a series that could disgust and horrify you one moment and then just have you genuinely laughing the next without any sort of tonal whiplash. Honestly, I feel the comedy and more laid-back moments of the series add a lot more life and personality to its large cast of characters. Seriously, I could have an entire spin-off series where the characters just go about their lives normally and chill, and I honestly would be just as entertained. Speaking of which, Dorohedoro has one of my favorite cast of characters ever. They're a bunch of murder psychotic weirdos, but I love them all the same. Well, almost. Shin's just a bit more special to me personally. Now, I have rewritten this part of the video a bunch of times, since I just wind up going on these tangents just talking about every single character of the series. But obviously that makes this video like 4 times longer. If I were to make an analogy of how to describe the cast of Dorohedoro, it's sort of like the cast of characters found in series like Bakuno or Durara, with a huge cast of unique and fun characters where almost everyone is a badass in some shape or form, and are constantly intertwined with each other. Only I feel Dorohedoro is able to do a lot more with its characters, though to be fair, I haven't read the light novels for either Bakuno or Durara. But with Dorohedoro, almost every character gets a very healthy amount of screen time, allowing you to see just how awesome everyone is. And while all of that is fantastic, one of the most striking aspects of Dorohedoro that got me to check out the series in the first place is, of course, its art. After looking at the cover for volume 15 years ago, I immediately had to check out the series. Everything from the character design to the colors used on that cover were the coolest thing to me back then, and really still are. Q Hayashida's style is truly standout and one of my favorites in the industry. The art overall has this tangible layer of filth and grime to it, and I mean that in the best possible way. You can almost feel the sludge drip off the pages. While Whole looks completely run down, it also still feels alive and bustling, and the world of sorcerers looks like a very twisted fairy tale. Character designs are spectacular with the many misfits and mutants that make up the cast. Sorcerers have this cool gimmick of wearing all kinds of different masks, ranging from absolutely badass, like my boy Shin, to downright silly, like the character Turkey, who literally wears a stuffed turkey. Now that's some peak character design. And then there's the Devils, who all look like they have potential to be mascots for a heavy metal band. I just love the whole vibe and aesthetic of the series. Like, seriously, just inject that shit into my veins. I'd probably get some disease considering how dirty and grimy it is, but I don't care, man. I fucking love it. And yeah, I just totally love this manga. To me personally, it's perfect. Because in a weird way, it just feels like it was tailor-made for me. Almost everything and anything I could ever want in a manga is in here. I truly love this series, and I'm so happy I've been able to introduce it to so many others over the past few years. Which now brings us to the anime adaptation, which I'm still in shock that we even got. As much as I love Dorohedoro, it was just one of those series that I was almost convinced would never get an anime, due to a lot of factors, ranging from the series' age, as Dorohedoro is technically from the 90s, and until recently never got any sort of animated news announcement. Then there's just the overall style and strangeness of the series that sort of convinced me adapting Dorohedoro just would never happen. But one of the finer things to come out in the hella shambles that is 2020, we finally got a Dorohedoro anime adaptation. As a massive fan of Dorohedoro, I couldn't be happier for an adaptation, especially one that seemed to have a lot of passion going into it, with lots of Easter eggs and nods to the series and its creator, a great soundtrack with loads of catchy ending songs, paired with a solid voice cast in both English and Japanese. Originally, I was a bit concerned with the CG usage when I first saw the trailer here, but honestly, the series looks really good regardless. Sure, a few times I remember the CG looking a bit distracting, but it overall blends pretty well here. I also have to applaud the series for doing a great job in capturing the style of Q Hayashida, especially in those backgrounds, which I feel the anime totally nail. My only slight gripe with the visuals here, which I honestly feel just might have been too hard to do, is that I kinda wish we got more of that grimy and experimental color that the manga's color pages provided, as personally I feel the anime is just a tad brighter than I would have liked for a Dorohedoro adaptation. But even that's kind of fixed in the special episodes, which I'm also super thankful that those even got adapted, as I feel those special chapters are very necessary for Dorohedoro, as they flesh out the characters and world of the series in very light and fun ways. Besides the visuals, the anime is a pretty solid adaptation. It follows the manga at a nice pace, with the only noticeable difference being the exclusion of a chapter where Kaiman gets in a boxing ring with a sorcerer, which, while that in itself was a fun chapter, It didn't really do a lot to progress the story here, so it kinda makes sense as to why it was cut in the long run. Really hoping we get a second season sometime, as there's plenty of things and characters I can't wait to see animated, and of course I just want this series to get even more exposure. Both Dorohedoro and Q Hayashida herself deserve it. Also, check out Q Hayashida's newest series, Die Dark, which, believe it or not, is just even more out there and surreal than Dorohedoro. It's still pretty fresh, but every chapter has been a wild ride. But anyways, with that, we have another Dorohedoro video from me. It always feels good to talk about this series, and feels even better knowing that I've introduced so many people to it, and hopefully this video continues to do that. As always, I am Mr.FalconPunch. Hope you enjoyed this video, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.